Under Kyle Shanahan, San Francisco's defense has consistently been ranked among the top in the entire league. A big reason for that success is the amount of work they do during their offseason program. So with 1 week of training camp wrapping up, it's the perfect opportunity to examine some players on the defensive side of the ball who've already started to stand out. Starting off with their safeties, Talanoa Hufanga, their all-pro safety, has been out as he recovers from an ACL tear. But today we got news that he should be back mid-August for when San Francisco has joint practices with the Saints. And I know a lot of people argue that a player shouldn't lose out on their job due to injury, but it does open the opportunity for some rookies or under-radar players to shine. And that's just what San Francisco's rookie safety Malik Mustafa did. Throughout this camp, Mustafa hasn't just been good for a rookie, he's arguably San Francisco's best safety on the field. On day one, he immediately made his presence felt with an interception. He was starting in the middle of the field, and when Joshua Dobbs was trying to target Gray on the sideline, he showed he's arguably San Francisco's fastest safety, eating up all of that space and picking off Dobbs. And even though his 40 time of 4.52 is respectable, I'd argue he's faster since he did that on a bum hamstring. Right now, he's flying around San Francisco's training camp. He nearly got his second interception when Allen was trying to target Jennings on the sideline. Jennings was open, but Malik Mustafa was quickly able to identify it and then break on the ball. And while he's been standing out in his pass coverage, I would argue he's much better as a run defender. Last year for Wake Forest, he led the entire team with 80 tackles. And those weren't just ankle tackles, Mustafa was looking to punish his opponent. So even though he's been impressive up to this point in his run fits and his coverage ability, I would argue you're going to see the best out of Mustafa going forward once pads come on. Throughout his career, he says he's made it an emphasis to focus on his strength, and he was the strongest safety of this entire last draft class, putting up the bench press 22 times. And while he's a little bit short coming in at 5'10", he is 210 pounds of all muscle. So unlike most rookies, I don't necessarily think he needs a year in the NFL weight room. And in a similar way to Jair Brown's rookie season, he's been a sponge and communicative on the field. So I really think he's going to have a lot of success as a rookie and maybe even start for San Francisco, but that definitely hinges on how Hufanga looks once he comes back. And outside of Malik Mustafa, the other safety that really stood out was their second-year player in Jair Brown. Yesterday, Brown had his first interception of training camp when Brock Purdy was targeting Deebo Samuel deep. So in a similar way to his rookie year, he continues to have a knack for finding the football. Heading into his second year, Brown looks more comfortable in San Francisco's defense, and I imagine he's going to have a more productive season. As far as San Francisco's other safety in competition for Hufanga's spot, George Odom, I don't necessarily see him as an NFL starting safety. He's a solid backup and special teams player, but once Malik Mustafa steps on the field, you can just see a difference in the type of player they are. Outside of San Francisco's safeties and into their linebacker group, they also have a job up for grabs with Dre Greenlaw out with an Achilles injury. Because of this injury, San Francisco signed all-pro veteran Devondre Campbell this offseason. And even though he only played in 11 games last year, he had 75 tackles and 1 pass defended. So with it being kind of a down season for Campbell, there was a question with and he's even broke up a few passes. My biggest question for Campbell will be how he holds up once pads come on. Last year, I thought he did a pretty good job, especially against the run, so I want to see if that carries over. Outside of Campbell, D. Winters also looks in competition for that linebacker job. Today, for instance, Winters had several stops in the run game, and he's often the first or second player there. He's just so fast. And he was able to keep his speed while adding a considerable amount of mass. And this mass should help him be more effective in the run game, where he kinda got pushed around at times last year. San Francisco's other second-year linebacker, Jalen Graham, also has a couple of nice stops under his belt during this training camp period. Tatum Bethune, the linebacker out of Florida State San Francisco selected in the 7th round, also looks promising this offseason. Today, for instance, he was able to absolutely blow up a run play. And while he's a little bit slower, running his 40-yard dash in 4.7 seconds, I think he plays considerably faster than that, at least due to his instincts. Bethune throughout this training camp has also done a good job with his awareness in zone coverage. He's quickly able to identify a man coming in his zone, for instance. And while he's not going to start for San Francisco, if he shows off enough special teams flexibility, he could push for a roster spot. Moving off San Francisco's linebackers and into their corner position, Isaac Yiadom has to be the most impressive signing of this offseason. For only $3 million, San Francisco is getting a considerable upgrade at this position. Last year, he allowed a completion percentage of less than 50% on him while also having 14 passes defended and 1 interception. And his grade last season was only second to Charvarius Ward on San Francisco's roster. He also did an excellent job in his run fits for the Saints, and it doesn't appear last season was a fluke. So far in this training camp, he's showing off a lot of what he did last year. In press man coverage, for instance, he does an excellent job with his long arms getting into the wide receiver's chest and disrupting the timing of the route. And 50-50 type jump balls routinely become in Yadam's favor. He's just so tall and able to jump so high. Throughout this training camp, Yadam has lined up on San Francisco's best wide receiver in Deebo Samuel and routinely shut him down. So heading into this season, I don't know how San Francisco really doesn't put Yadam out there. Another impressive corner has been the second-year player Darrell Luter Jr. Like Ward and Yadam, Luter has extremely long limbs and can get in a wide receiver's face and press him on the line of scrimmage. And so far in this training camp, when he has been targeted, he's done an excellent job of either breaking up the pass or intercepting it. On the second day of training camp, Luter Jr. might have had his best play where he picked off Joshua Dobbs with a freakishly athletic interception. But he just continues to make plays. Even today, for instance, he had a nice pass breakup on Danny Gray. And unless something goes seriously wrong, he appears to be a lock for the 53-man roster. In a similar way this offseason, Lenore and Charvarius Ward are at the top of the pack. Today was also notable with Charvarius Ward sitting out. Renardo Green, San Francisco's second-round rookie, did see action as a starting nickelback. I feel like the story for San Francisco's defense this offseason really is change and new faces coming in, and that continues to be the case on their defensive line. While Bosa and Hargrave are unquestioned starters, San Francisco's other tackle and end are going to be new from last year. The new addition that's probably impressed most has been Yetur Gross-Matos. The 6'5", 265-pound defensive end knows how to set an edge in the running game and surprisingly has been efficient at getting to the quarterback. In a similar way, Leonard Floyd looks like he can continue to be an effective pass rush specialist. He beat several of San Francisco's players, including Colton McKivitz, Jalen Moore, basically whoever he wanted to. And I know Trent Williams isn't out there, but he does look pretty effective so far, and I want to see how he continues to look once pads come on. As far as San Francisco's defensive tackle goes, this offseason they signed both Malik Collins and Jordan Elliott to help resolve this issue. And while I think they're going to be effective starters, I'm really intrigued by the developmental piece, Evan Anderson. The rookie coming out of Florida Atlantic University is 6'3", weighing 326 pounds. And if there's one thing San Francisco has really been missing is a big-bodied guy that can really stop runs right up the middle. DJ Jones used to be that guy, but once he signed with the Broncos, San Francisco had a void that never got filled. But now with Anderson, he offers a similar quickness as DJ Jones. He's one of the first defensive tackles off the ball, and one of the biggest. Ultimately though, these are just some players that have really stood out on the defensive side of the ball after 1 week of San Francisco's training camp, and I'd like to hear who you're excited to see going forward. It would also mean a ton if you could like and subscribe, and as always, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.